What's up, folks? This is Nigeria from the Big Gold Belt Podcast.
And I'm Miranda Morales from thechairshot.com. And you're watching our review of Impact Wrestling on AXS TV.
What's up, folks? Nigeria and Miranda over there.
Damn it. One of these days I'm going to get it right.
What's up, everybody? And here, you know why we're here, because we're getting ready to knock out our review for Impact on AXS TV. This is the aftermath of Bound for Glory 2020. Hopefully you just was interacting with us on our live stream from our review of Bound for Glory. If you haven't, check out that review that we did. It was pretty cool.
It was a lot of fun.
Definitely broke down things in a very, I'll say, unconventional way. I watched some other people's reviews. I think we kind of shed some light on some things that a lot of people aren't really talking about, as we try to do all the time. You know, no marks here. We just have fun with this and try to really talk about the good and positive aspects. And yes, we dabble into some things we didn't like, but so be it. You know, can't like everything. But tonight, well, this episode ain't wasting no time. Eric Young, before the show can even start, attacking Rich Swann. Miranda, I'm letting you know right now, this rematch, absolutely hated it. I know I said we're gonna be positive. There's no way. There's no way this rematch should have happened in the way it did. I think it should have been ill-advised. It should have been discussed, it being ill-advised, and it should have just been an onslaught beating of some sort leading into next week. Now that we see next week, that next week's match, I can't wait. Eddie Edwards with Swann versus Eric Young and Sami Callihan. Man, that's gonna be good. Yeah. But I'm just, Rich Swann in some slacks, barefooted, and beats Eric Young, your biggest heel in the company. I would go as far as saying the biggest heel in wrestling right now.
This just didn't need to be a match. It could have been a beatdown. You could have still done the same thing, and oh yes, you have to separate them, and then we lead into. You could still have gotten to the tag match that we have next week without actually having an official match this week. Absolutely. I feel like that if anything, having it back to back, having it less than as they say, 72 hours from their previous match, I think you push the gas a little too fast, and we got a rematch that we could have waited a little bit longer for. I mean, and the buildup itself, we've been very critical about the buildup itself in general because of the highs and lows of it, of building a bunch of sympathy for Rich Swann through this whole leg injury, but it not really quite clicking. And now Rich Swann is, 100% of health, and he's beating him, without any shoes and dress slacks. Like it's just lots of confusing aspects in this program that I don't know how to quite follow. So I agree. There shouldn't have been a match. This should have not been a match. It should have just been a plain beatdown where you have to separate them. And then we, get through the steps to get to the tag match next week and waited on a rematch, whether that's, the Impact Plus, app is having monthly shows as far as I know. So like how we had Victory Road, I expect that we're going to have some kind of show November or December. Maybe that's when the rematch could have happened. If you want to build it up to Hard to Kill, you could have done that. But to jump right ahead on that rematch so soon in such a sloppy manner, I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, man. There's no ifs, ands, or buts for me. It just should not have happened. I mean, the main event had big fight feel, and sure, there's leftover aggression going on here, but why make a match? And I will say that, Scott D'Amore, I love him, the character and the person, as far as how he's instating himself into storylines and how it's making things kind of flow and transition. This is one you just don't make happen. I don't care what Rich said. Don't make it happen. This is a big match and a rematch that a lot of people will be invested in seeing. And you have to take it for what it's worth.
Yeah.
The people who didn't get to see the pay-per-view, they would have tuned in for this. If you announce this match is happening and that it's legitimate on fair, grounds and territory, whatever you want to call it, I just wasn't a fan of it. I'm sorry. It shouldn't happen. But anyway, going into the night, we know now that we have the Knockouts tag team titles returning for Hard to Kill. We talked about in our review, and now we know that everybody's hyped for it. All the tag teams are on Scott D'Amore door. They want to know what's going to happen. Well, we see a new formation of a team in Alicia and Jordan Grace, which, you know, they faced Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan tonight. Well, that match went exactly how it should have went, and there's no way that you put Jordan Grace in a tag team.
I mean,
tell me otherwise.
I mean, look, it does seem like maybe her chapter with the X Division is closed for now.
No. I do one better. It appears that they don't know what to do with Jordan Grace.
No, I think it's a fair point because she can go in a lot of different directions. I know we'll talk about it in a second, but, you know, she could always go back into the Knockouts championship picture. You know, she obviously had a stop with the X Division. And now maybe there's some indication that she's going to be part of the quest for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. I think, if anyone should deserve a title run with it, it is her. Is she more of a lone wolf and plays by her own rules? Absolutely. You know, maybe though this means that someone else is brought in and she finds a partner that's more adequate for her than Alicia Edwards. Maybe this is a sign of that to come. There was a little bit of a teasing of possibly Jordan Grace and Tennille Dashwood. And you know what? I didn't quite hate that idea. Former enemies coming into a team together. You know, we've seen that dynamic in all of tag team wrestling, an odd pairing coming together to be successful. That could be entertaining. And again, both are really talented and they each have their own set of moves and, you know, wrestling style that could be, you know, interesting in a tag team dynamic. But, you know, it does seem like, you know, Jordan is going to have some kind of place within, you know, the tournament. I mean, they did announce Caleb with a K got the exclusive information that it is going to be an 8-team tournament. And so we already know some teams based off of, you know, the pairings, but not all of them.
Hold on. Let's put this on paper now. We do know some teams. We know that Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz is one. You have to assume that Alicia and Jordan Grace is occupying a second team here, which technically would have made them eliminated, right? So that's 2. Rosemary and Tyus 3. Havoc and Nevaeh's 4. Who does that? I mean, I have got to put Kimberly and Deonna Purrazzo 5, but that's still. Well, I'm about to say 6. Yeah, 3, 6. Oh, I can't count 2, 4, 6 people potentially left. And if you look at the Knockouts division, well, who's left? You have Madison Rain. You have Tennille Dashwood and Kylie Ray. Susie.
Kylie Ray, well, Susie, I don't know if Susie lives here no more.
Excuse me, yes.
Susie can't come to the phone right now because she's dead.
So, yeah, the possibilities are there. We talked about it last review. I'll let you go ahead and plug that again. How should they handle this with the occupancies here?
Look, I said this a bit during our Bound for Glory review, and I'm going to say it again. I mean, we've seen another high-profile company recently do a similar tournament for women's tag teams, and they were able to bring in some really good talent that they've been able to build part of their division around. The good news with Impact is they already have a very solid division, and it's still a buyer's market for independent talent throughout the U.S. and or even the world, depending on, you know, what happens with travel. So, I mean, I think that it's a great way to utilize the talent that you already have, maybe bring in some new talent, and then maybe even, you know, find some new prospects after that they may stay and remain. You just never quite know what's going to happen, but I think that it's very exciting. But again, Impact's been building this up for months. They've done a great job with this. So you already have very believable, established teams. And you could have an argument for any team winning, really. However, I think there's a little bit more of a and Kiera, who just gel so well, and being somewhat of a heel tag team to be the first team to get these new versions of the titles could really be a feather in their cap and really establish not only this revision of the Knockouts tag team division, but also just new and upcoming talent. So it's so many different directions they can go in, so many different things. I'm very excited. We're just, again, because you have all these different things that come into play with it that make it just, you just don't know what's going to happen next.
Yep. Well said. So I can't tell you that I was not in for the hardcore Halloween match with Tommy Dreamer and Brian Myers. I thought we were done there. I
literally, we've already seen them do this match so many times. And then the fact that this is really just a catalyst for Swoggle to come out, like this is, I feel like it's declining after such a good performance that Brian Myers had during the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. Like that was one thing that was a positive of the gauntlet. And then you just crash it in to do such a repetitive, gimmicky match. All that does is give Tommy Dreamer a win in his column. That's great. But you know what? We don't need this anymore. It's been very established that Brian Myers has beaten Tommy Dreamer, and Brian Myers should move on to something else. Tommy Dreamer should move on to something else.
God. To be clear, I don't hate it. I'm just super duper over it. Period.
Exactly.
Now, I got to be honest. I thought the wedding with Johnny Bravo and Rosemary was going to happen at Bound for Glory. Was this was this like, did something happen and it got pushed, or was it always going to be afterwards?
I think it was always going to be afterwards. I think we got hints of that last week because of, the venue, and it has to, because they couldn't get the castle, so they had to do it in the wrestling ring. But it would have made sense the way that they were building it up, that it was going to be at Bound for Glory. So I think it was a little bit of that, at least to me.
I this whole time thought it was happening at Bound for Glory. Then once Bound for Glory went off, I was like, oh, the wedding's not happening. But anyway, the wedding happened tonight. Taya in her red dress was just
lovely. She's just a vision.
Absolutely. But Rosemary had plans, as she said, for Johnny Bravo. Oh, excuse me. They had plans for Johnny Bravo. And Johnny Bravo just got clued. If you don't know what Clue is, the game Clue, I sincerely apologize for you being way too young.
I don't know if I have a better reference, because I was going to do a Dallas reference. Who shot JR? And that's
no one's gonna listen to this now.
No one's be like, oh, you're so old. You guys don't have Facebook profiles. So old. That was a twist.
I'd say this. I mean, first of all, everybody in their alternate costumes for the wedding. Cool. That was really cool. But the thing about this is that we're getting more gimmick stuff on par with Russell House. That's it. That's what I got from this, and I'm happy with that. And we're going back down Russell House road shenanigans with getting people involved that's not really doing anything backstage and telling the story and whatever. And it's obviously going to result in matches. Cool. Absolutely cool.
Yeah, I love Wrestle House. I love that theme. I'm not entirely sold on this story yet, because I feel it's too gimmicky, and it may be taking away from some of the seriousness that it was. Like, at least Wrestle House was in its own entity, separate away from the Impact Zone. And I feel like once you blend it in more, it's a little bit more challenging. But I do like how it's almost this cohort of the same people in these kind of funny moments. And I feel like that works when you have people like the Deaners and Team Triple XL and Alicia Edwards, that you kind of know, like, maybe wrestling isn't going to be in their biggest niche, but the fact that they could still do things that contribute to the show, you know what? It's a good utilization of talent. And also shout out to Team Triple XL with the Nasty Boys look. Like, there was some good tributes, Tommy Dreamer with the Road Warriors. Yeah, I mean, there was some good tributes during this wedding, and I'm a fan of it. I support it. So, it does seem like we're going down, another route, another mystery with these, same groups of people. And we'll see. I hope it's entertaining. I hope it's not too childish and gimmicky. I hope that it's as entertaining as Wrestle House was. I have a feeling it's not going to be, though.
I got to say also, Candy Corn sucks, and the fact that it was in that match ultimately made me hate that match even more. just to put that out there. Heath and Rhino, Heath being eliminated because he was hurt, and now they're playing at the fact that he is hurt or he isn't hurt. There's something to be made between Rhino and Heath. Don't know yet. I guess we keep our eyes on this, looking in the future. There's a little bit of we can see something building here in regards to what they kind of want to do with the Heath thing. Heath getting his contract next week, but he's hurt, but he's not hurt, but whatever. But
yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe he feels like he's downplaying it because he's afraid that he won't get the contract if he's hurt.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Good point. Yep. And he feels like it's a liability if he's hurt. He's really hurt, but if he act like if he is hurt, then he won't get the contract as another reason as a setback for him. We had the Rascals and we had Triple XL. Triple XL picking up a win. Poor Rascals, but Triple XL now instating themselves into the tag division. As we see, they go right up to the I can't even think of the name.
Motor City Machine Guns.
Motor City Machine Guns is stating that they are the number one contenders because they've beaten everybody. Whatever, but hey, you know, the more the merrier in the tag division.
Yeah, well, this came from a press call not too long ago, where not Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin mentioned that they want to face more teams in the tag division. You know, that they want to face all of the teams. So I think that this pairing is good. It's a good opportunity for Team Triple XL. Again, I mean, they've been more in this comedy bit for a while, but the best way to build up your tag division is by having some serious competition. So I'm actually excited to see what this match will look like. I hope it's a competitive one. I hope it showcases both teams very well. And it's a great way to build up.
Yeah, absolutely. What else are we kind of missing for tonight?
Well, I was gonna say, so Moose confronted Rich Swann. So this is the first time we're seeing Moose after his match with EC3. He won, was successful in this match. And, you know, after everything that Rich Swann went through, we talked about earlier tonight, he had that rematch against Eric Young, defeated him. He was in the back celebrating with, some of his friends, with the Rascals.
The Treehouse Boys.
With the Treehouse Boys and Willie Mack. And, Moose came and pretty much said, what a waste, why is everyone congratulating you when you're not even a real champion?
Yeah, you're number two.
You're number two.
Yeah.
One, there is a change with Moose. You could tell. There was some transference between him and EC3, where now he talks a lot like EC3. Something happened. And I don't know how intentional this was and whatnot. I mean, we got some of this in the beginning with Moose when he first got the TNA Heavyweight Championship, where he was selective about who faced him, but it was, kind of in a comedic way. Now he's very serious. And so, I mean, it was an interesting confrontation, I think, because Rich Swann was having none of it. He was ready to tackle Moose, but it also set up a confrontation between Moose and Willie Mack. And Willie Mack's ready to challenge him. And Moose continues. When I say you don't get to make it, the decisions I say when it happens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then ultimately too, we saw in another segment later on in the night, Willie Mack getting a photo with a fan, Moose jumping right in and attacking him. So it seems like we're setting something up between Moose and Willie Mack. But again, it seems like I don't know. Did you notice something different with Moose? Was it just me, or was there something different with Moose?
The approach and the demeanor is different. That fan didn't have a mask on, by the way. And yeah, good storytelling that you have to go through one obstacle before you get champion versus champion, which we haven't had just quite yet. So, but yeah, I do sense a little bit of a different of aggression with Moose, and we'll see how it manifests more beyond this. But I think it's what it needs to be done. We've seen Moose be arrogant and offhand, and kind of calling his shots to kind of lead to nothing, just to kind of put stake into the championship. But if EC3's purpose was to proclaim the champion to be legitimate, which he wasn't, because he said it wasn't legitimate, then it makes sense that he now takes this championship and completely puts it on the line, make it worth something, make it number one. So I don't even want to talk about EC3 no more. He did.
No, you know what? I would love. I mean, I think one of the ways they could salvage this if we find out that who's pulling the strings, EC3, that this was part of his
Ooh.
plan, that EC3 is pulling Moose's strings, that giving him this false sense of security, but this entire time he's manipulating him, and it goes
Ooh.
deeper. If you can do something like that, then it's salvageable. Because again, I'm saying there's this shift in energy from Moose that reminds me so much of EC3. So maybe EC3 is slowly getting deeper into Moose's head, and maybe we find out that Moose is now taking guidance and leadership from EC3, and maybe there's I have a little glimpse of hope after seeing this, and maybe I'm reading too much into it. But it's this idea that it could be very interesting if this is the last we see of EC3. Maybe we think it is, but maybe it's not. I don't know. But it's something different.
I'm hoping.
Yes.
I'm very much hoping. This episode is a big bowl of hope for me. Mm-hmm. That's all I can say.
Yes.
So we can get ready to wrap up really quick. Let's talk about the last thing. Deanna Purrazzo, Kimberly, her lawyer, and Scott Demore. And she has a lawyer as to why Sue Young should be stripped of the title and give it to. I'm sorry. Can you please tell me what the case was here?
No, Scott Demore laid it out exactly right. She came into the middle of the ring, challenged any man or woman to face her, and that's exactly what she got. And somehow, though, they were. Now, this is an interesting thing, too, because they did mention Kylie Rae, that somehow possibly Kylie Rae's absence could have been contributed to Sue Young.
Yep, that's what they had to do. They absolutely had to throw that out there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, there's interesting ways that they are tying this up, and ultimately we still don't know the exact story, but it is something that's come out of it in a positive way, that this has been able to translate so seamlessly. Even though this may have not been the original plan, it's still working very well. It does not surprise me that Deanna sought legal counsel, because as a virtuosa, that's what you do when you're money and you're rich and you think you're all that. You get a lawyer on the phone and says, fix this for me.
These Jersey girls are getting out of hand, okay?
But I just continue to.
These South Jersey girls. I don't want Tasha Steeles to run up.
No, I was gonna say Tasha come for you. She don't need a lawyer. She use her fist to solve problems. But it's an interesting challenge. I mean, we do have the rematch that was announced coming for next week, so it will be happening. But she still has to face Sue Young. I think that was her strategy, though, to do anything to not be in a wrestling ring with her, because Sue Young is nothing like she's ever faced before. Nothing. And there's no way to prepare for it. There's no amount of technical wrestling ability that will prepare you for, just for Sue Young. There's no way to explain it. There's no words to describe it. The force
and supernatural ability of Sue Young. That's unless you are coming up with some type of seance or bougier, whatever your
holy water. I don't know what you're gonna do, whether you work on the forces of light or dark, whatever you gotta do.
Miranda, you mean like the things your grandma used to tell you when we were little, the things they used to scare you your entire lifetime. These are the things you need in order to tackle Sue Young, and Deanna Purrazzo does not have one of those in her corner.
A lawyer will do nothing against the undead bride. That's just a fact. So, we will have the rematch next week, and so that's going to be very interesting to see. And again, I mean, it's a whole new era in the Knockouts division. Sue Young is back. She has a challenger in Deanna Purrazzo, and we still have this wild card of Kylie Rae. Whenever she does return, that adds something to this possible triangle.
What attitude was she going to have to say to it?
Yes, exactly.
It is a wild card.
It's who knows? But again, now we have a new pay-per-view to build up to, Hard to Kill, for 2021. So I mean, we now have several months to see what comes next.
Yep.
This new chapter of Impact Wrestling. So overall, a really entertaining show. Definitely some gimmicky things in there, but also some really good wrestling. And we just continue to see Impact evolve to this next level, this next stage, and we'll just continue to see what happens next.
Yeah, I feel like the cement was laid, and we got to see it get paved next week. So again, this episode didn't give a lot; it gave a little bit of clarification, a little bit of direction, a little bit of definition going forward. But nonetheless, with coming off of a pay-per-view like Bound for Glory, you can't expect way too much after the episode. Some things got to kind of simmer just a little bit, and because of some audibles that they had to call, they got to kind of soft reset, but continue to storytell just a little. So it is what it is. But us, we'll be back each and every week to cover Impact on AXS TV. Let us know in the comments what you thought about tonight's episode. What do you think they should do with Kylie Rae? I mean, everyone's saying triple threat, but like, what other possibilities could there be? Is there any other ideas that you think? Yeah. Should Smiley Callie, shoot. Should she not return? Should we get Frowny Callie for a change? I've never seen her as a heel. She could be possibly
bad as her best friend. Again, we've seen it. We've seen some of the happiest people turn into some of the best heels. So the formula is out there. I'm interested in our viewers' thoughts on who out there on the independent scene do you think Impact should bring in for the Knockouts Tag Team Tournament? Because they obviously don't have enough people on the roster now. Who out there in the independent wrestling scene should they bring in?
I'll just throw a name out there right now. Kiera, call your girlfriend up, tell her to come through because she's one of the best in all of independent wrestling. You've seen what she just did on another brand, but Diamante, I don't think she's signed. Would love to see Diamante in the Impact Zone. Or a tag team partner could be, I don't know. But there's so many different names and faces out there. But I would say Diamante in some way, shape, or form. I would love to see Diamante in the Impact Zone. So I'll throw that out there. But anyway, folks, we got a jet. Our time's up for the night. Again, let us know in the comments. As Miranda said, who would you like to see on the independent scene make an appearance in this tag team tournament? Hell, get signed at this rate. Because we got a long couple of months till we get to Hard to Kill. Thank you for watching, folks, and we'll catch you all very soon.
Bye-bye.